cheap solar power, batteries, and electric vehicles are changing the transport and energy sector as we know. I bring in guests to this podcast who will help you with their ideas to navigate this energy transition. By the way, this episode is also available as a video on our YouTube channel. Just search Energypreneurs. Thank you for joining. I just interviewed Stanley Choi from a very large company, SANY, one of the OEM manufacturer who manufactures trucks, renewable energy, solar, wind, and many other things. I had a very large project that where SANY was the equipment manufacturer. So this fascinating discussion I just had with this young man about how SANY is trying to get into off-grid areas, electrifying equipments. And one fascinating stuff that he mentioned that their factory is making a truck in 8 to 10 minutes, fully automated. Manufacturing a trucks made by robots, it takes 8 to 10 minutes. Please come and join to find out a bit more. Hi, Stanley. Good afternoon from Manila.
Hey, good afternoon from Melbourne. How's it going, Sohail?
Very good. I mean, very good. I'm very jealous. Melbourne must be fantastic weather. Maybe before we get into anything, I know you are into batteries. You work for a renewable energy company. Tell us a bit
Yep.
more about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So I study aerospace engineering and finance. And after I graduate my university, until right now, I am always in the power generation sector. So basically, I work with a lot of projects, no matter it is on grid, off grid, behind the meter, after the meter, anything is funny about or thing is very interesting in this market that I really enjoy. And from my journey in the energy supply industry, I work as a project engineer, project manager, and then myself and my family discover if I stick in the project management field, I will keep traveling and traveling too much. Then we have to settle down. So that's why I go into another space, which is sales, which I enjoy a lot as well, because I like to talk to people also in the energy supply sector. So what I am doing in the sales phase is if you take the FID as a reference point, what I am doing right now is from conceptual to FID. And then what I was doing in my previous time will be after FID towards the handover to the delivery side. So long story short, what I'm doing right now is I'm working for SANY Group. SANY Group is bread and butter always in the civil construction side. They supply the construction equipment like the cranes, excavator, mining trucks, heavy machinery, etc. And also they have renewable energy division, which is we also manufacture wind turbine, solar panel, battery, hydrogen electrolyzer, etc. So what our aim in different country and also in Australia is we want to, of course, sell not just the product and also the solution in different scenario to this country. And what I'm doing right now, I am responsible for the energy and transport division. So any SANY product or solution under the belt, it will be under my scope. So we can talk about X amount of energy, how it can be generated using our product, and which also included the commercial EV side as well, which is our strong focus in this market. So yeah, there's my quick summary.
So you are in the logistic. Is that the SANY that's make large cranes, OEM manufacturer that you are working for?
Yes, correct. That's the same SANY
Okay.
here.
Because in my previous professional life, when I was with Asian Development Bank, we did a large, almost $500 million contract or a project to rehabilitate many things in Turkmenistan power sector. So a lot of
Yep.
equipment that we purchased came from SANY.
Yes, this
It's,
is the
it's a,
same SANY I'm working for.
okay, that's a very large company.
Yes, yes. It is large and is ambitious, and the product is impressive. The diversification of how many sector it can penetrate into, and also one of the key strengths that other OEM can't compete is when we group all or whatever, how many of our products together and to supply as a solution, we call it a one SANY solution to the customer. It is
Mhm.
very powerful. For example, if we look at a mining scenario, they want to decarbonize their operation. In the electricity supply side, we can use our SANY wind turbine, SANY solar panel, and energy storage, and we can work out something like a PPA behind the meter with the customer or off-grid to the customer. Then we can deal with the electricity supply side, lock in for 25 years or whatever. And then in the application side, there is another magic. So which is we can do EV, not just EV trucks. We do EV light truck, heavy truck, EV crane, EV excavator, EV mining trucks. And they are all starting coming into this market. And we are happy to have this opportunity to talk to more customer, and we are ambitious. We are also happy to share this kind of excitement to more customer, how it works.
Wonderful. You have a whole suite of
Yeah.
products that you just mentioned. So let me understand a bit more. When you said a customer comes to your mining company saying, okay, we want to do decarbonize, you not only supply the hardware, you can also help them design the product. Is that what you're saying?
Um, yes. So normally is we do prefer the customer, let's say if they're the mine owners, we do prefer to understand what's the pain point. For example, right now in Australia, they have a carbon emission target they need to achieve in
Mhm.
their ESG report, and most of the company, they are listed company, and they do have their responsibility to meet the carbon emission target. So by the traditional operation, they are using petrol, gas, whatever, which means the emission will be X amount of the ton of the CO2 or whatever greenhouse gases. So in terms to meet the target and decarbonize the operation, first, electricity supply. So they are not using a generator anymore or any kind of the oil or gas power. Slowly transition into renewable. They can be like a renewable penetration, maybe 70 or 80%. Just depends on the taste and preference and what they want to lock it in. And then once they deal with the electricity side, supply side, they can consider, okay, we can install charging station, battery swap station to the customer that in their commercial fleet, they can do the electrification as well. So we would prefer to provide a full suite in term instead of, okay, Stanley, I want to buy one mining trucks. Give me your specs. Can we decide it? We do okay. We also okay, but we would prefer a bigger picture. Then we can help them to tailor the solution in one stop.
And you mentioned earlier PPA. So that means you can almost do what the energy efficiency sector call an ESCO, energy service company. You can come and say, your existing solution costing you X,
Mm,
new solution will cost you this. We may be
yep.
able to deliver that with this sort of price or this sort of arrangement. So you take the technical risk away from the client, if you like. Do you agree?
Exactly. Yes. So we, in terms of the PPA, we mainly focus on the off-grid market to the mining customer or the heavy operation sector because they would like ourselves to step in as an expertise and also like a APC plus finance or whatever structure. And we do prefer to be the investor, which means they don't have to pay any upfront costs. For example, the existing PPA with the gas company, let's say 45 cents per kilowatt hour, just a rough number. I just pick it up. And then, okay, we can talk to the customer. You don't have to worry about you buy X amount of wind turbine, X amount of solar panel, X amount of the battery, and how to hook it up, how to deal with the upstream, downstream, laying the cable, etc. We can do all of that. We can package it as energy supply solution. So in terms of PPA is a word, is a keyword, but the thing is in the off-grid to the customer, it is like a commercial commitment of you. They want to lock it in, the new PPA with the electrification. Let's say X amount of the dollar per kilowatt hour, lock into 25 years. And then we can use it as an investment to help them to electrify their mining operation, which is a win-win situation. Then, of course, we can foresee after we can step in one scope, we may have another scope to sell and penetrate into the specific customer or any adjacent customer in this sector.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what about the carbon credit that this avoided emission generates? Do you deal with that as?
So it's a good question. Technically we are OEM and we are not a financial institution. We do talk to the customer. They can work out their maths. So if they decarbonize in the electricity supply and also the fleet electrification way, then X amount of tons of the CO2 or greenhouse gases can be reduced. Then that means they can meet their target. Then carbon credit side, we are not in the interest at the moment. Later, maybe. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And how large is SANY's operation in Australia? How many people, how many projects have you done?
Yep, for sure. So our Australian entity is called SANY Australia. We registered in Australia since 2007. So we work out the maths, almost 2 decades already. And most of the projects we have involved, like Snowy Hydro 2.0, there's a large bridge in Perth using our cranes, and we have involved in a lot of the civil infrastructure works and also including the Pilbara region. They want to do some civil foundation works and civil extension work. We are also the equipment supplier as well. So there's lots and lots of, I would say, the landmark project we are already involved in, including lots of the wind farm project, solar farm projects, and also the train station construction extension is using our equipment as well. So we
Absolutely.
have a bit of a reach here.
Yeah, you large company. Now, have you been involved in any of the large solar project that you can explain a bit how large and what it's been doing and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. So let's not say solar project, let's say wind farm project. So
Sure.
one of our customer go in Australia, they're using our cranes to build one of their landmark project in Queensland. 110 or 100 wind turbine is erected and right now is ready to supply electricity to the grid. So this is one of the project and this the scale it is. And of course for solar projects, then our equipment like a smaller scale of the crane compared to the wind farm project, they will need to use a 1,000-ton crane. For solar will be much less, and then the battery project will be much less. In terms of the scale, maybe they do require large piece of land that maybe you can consider as a big, but the difficulty will be easier than the wind farm project. But what I want to emphasize is no matter where we see the project is large, small, whatever, what kind of the scope, we also have a foot in the projects, the landmark project in different kind of the penetration point.
Okay, so your equipment are all mostly operated electrically, all electric motors, electric cranes you're using?
Previously, I think it's still the traditional way. And of course, our new products, we have the EV cranes, EV trucks, whatever is in the terms of EV, then they will use the electrical drivetrain, the motor mechanism. So in terms of the government target to decarbonize in baby step, what we see and transition and then to the full running stage, I think we are in Australia in the baby step mode in terms of the equipment electrification side.
Yeah, that's a huge market. out there if you can electrify some of this equipment, especially in remote areas, charged by local solar as opposed to trucking tons and tons of oil from far away, really far away, no?
Exactly. We see it's a huge market, and we do a lot of the off-grid projects in South Africa as well. Why I mentioned South Africa is because in the last year, we just completed 30 projects because of the speed of the DA process, the speed of the investment cycle, and the difficulties to execute in terms of a lot of the different consideration points. And which means we have the capability and we are confident we can copy the model and to achieve in Australia. And we can see there's a lot of the common point is Africa, there's a lot of the natural resources is very good, which is the
Mhm.
same as Australia. There's a lot of the mining side as well, which is same as Australia. And there's a lot of the need in those kind of the side heavy operation that the grid is not exist. That's
Yep.
why we have the full-on off-grid, what we say is off-grid department, SANY Group, that are formed up with a lot of the expertise that has worked for a long time, no matter in the China grid, the China power, EPC, and also in different country, the expertise is pretty strong. So in terms of the technical capability, we are pretty strong. Project-wise, we are pretty strong. Product-wise, we are pretty diverse. We are looking forward to see how can we deliver more to the customers. Yeah,
Excellent. And it will also give you an advantage because a lot of Australian mines have operations in South Africa as well, no?
exactly. Exactly. They're the same company.
So what's your view? Is Australia moving ahead with electric vehicle fast enough? I mean, coming to the normal electric vehicle, not the cranes and trucks.
So for the passenger EV, I think it is good, but still not fast enough compared to other Asian country. I think the technical constraint is still the grid. It's not very stable. So that's why we can see and we talk to a lot of customer. Their only concern is not to buy the electrical vehicle, yes or no, is where is the charging point. So in Australia, the passenger EV is already picking up. But in terms of the heavy vehicle charging point, we have discussed with one of the largest charging port provider in Australia. What they said is there's just only two public commercial EV charging port for Australia. Only two. So we
These
see it's
are
a
the
huge market.
central of Australia. Which location?
He did not mention that in details, but in terms of the figure, it's just two. Only
Oh, you
two.
mean like almost like a half a megawatt size charger for these big trucks and equipments, not for
I
passenger electric vehicle because there are chargers
No,
everywhere.
exactly. So for the passenger charging port is may not be compatible for the commercial
Of
truck,
course,
and also and not so many people want so many trucks to park in their passenger to charge as well. And the truck driver or the truck operator don't even want to charge it right there because the charging efficiency is not that high.
yeah,
For
yeah.
example,
Huge battery, yes.
exactly. So what we require to charge a commercial fleet is at least 400 kilowatt, but for the passenger vehicle, I think it's just around 50 kilowatt to 80.
Yep, yep.
That's it, done. So we see it's a huge market. And I think in terms of how to pick it up to the full speed, there is a lot of the stakeholder to get involved. For example, government, for example, more pilot project have to be rolled out because we talk to a lot of the customer. They
Mhm.
are okay. They are good. They're happy to switch to EV. They don't have any question or query because they have collected TCO, which means in terms of the capex and OPEX, in the long run, it saving a lot of the dollar value compared to the diesel fleet. And also they can meet their ESG target as well. But the only question is, where is the charging point? As you know, from point to point, let's say the delivery from Melbourne to Sydney, where's the charging point? If there's no charging point, there's no business case for the commercial fleet. So it is a chicken and egg problem again, but what we think as an OEM, we think it's a huge opportunity and we would like to be an advocate. However, it won't be the one party game, one people to drive to the solution. It have to be all the stakeholder to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean, there are all those, what they call the rest areas for truckies. I mean, Sydney to Melbourne, whether you go Hume Highway or the other way around. So
Yeah,
if you pick up, I don't know, half a dozen of those rest areas, which is owned by the councils, so that
yeah,
could be a good start, right? They have a huge area.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And adjacent land can actually provide a solar charger there as well. So you don't have to connect to grid. And you're into off grid anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, again, that the stakeholders have to partner up. One party provide the land, one party to connect it to somewhere to have the stable load to charge the commercial fleet, and that's it, done.
Yeah, I
We have the
mean,
future.
earlier you mentioned PPA. I mean, you can convert those and add and everything and provide a dollar per month service with including the truck, the chargers, the charging stations and everything else, no?
Exactly. The business case is beyond our imagination, but in terms of the execution is, oh, where's the charging port, right? And when the truck company will say, okay, we are happy to buy your trucks, but where's the charging port? And when the charging port operator will ask the same question, we are happy to install more charging port. Where is the truck? Then we keep talking to each other nonstop.
Yeah, that's just the chicken and egg. But as long as the chicken and egg in the same room is there,
Yes.
getting
We see
started.
it's getting there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wonderful. Now, what else you do for fun? Looks like you are very much busy with your work. You're in Melbourne,
Yeah.
very nice place, very nice weather. What else you do for fun?
Wow, good question. Actually, I just come back from Brisbane for the business meeting. So, and my brain is still not very functional. Maybe we'll spend some time with my friends, families, and some private holidays to turn off my brain. That's
Good
it.
idea.
Yeah, pretty much. I do play golf. I do play badminton, basketball, those kind of normal stuff. So, yeah, pretty much it. Yeah.
That's a pretty busy time that way. That's good. If you're
Yeah.
traveling, especially, yeah, yeah. I'm just also curious that you have a quite a unique background. You said aerospace engineering and plus finance. So,
Yep.
so with that, you can build almost anything. So, or at least attempt to. So, what's your view? Where are things going with technology that is progressing? Special electric vehicle situation is more or less saturated. We know where it is going. But in terms of AI and autonomous driving, that's going to make a huge dent. Do you have any view or vision as to which way we are headed?
I think the first point of the automation driving, it will be coming very soon in the commercial operation. Depends on a lot of factors because there's a control environment for the commercial fleet. In let's say the quickest one we can see is in the heavy operation side. Let's say in the port operation. Let's
Mhm.
say in the mining operation. It's just a steady point A to B. There's not a lot of the disruption. It's a control environment. Let's say if it is a EV port delivery from point A to point B, that's it. You can do it autonomous. You don't really need any kind of human being involved. However, when we see if this has to be applied to the passenger vehicle market, it will take more time. It's not only the technical side, and the other side will be the insurance side and the responsibility side. For example, if there's an not say accident, that kind of a heavy word, any kind of incident happen in the autonomous driving happen, who is liable, right? Is it the driver? Will it be the OEM that create the technology or the car itself? Who is liable? Question mark, right? And because of this kind of factor, we don't think the AI and the autonomous will be in the passenger, what we say, the private sector pretty soon, which is the metro area that soon. It will be very fast to happen in the heavy operation. in a controlled environment to be the very first to prove this business case is working.
Yeah, but that contradicts to what Tesla robo taxi is doing in Austin and other places in US, no? They are talking
Mm.
about months or maybe mid-year next year, they will install the robo taxi without a passenger. So assuming that all those insurance issues and liability issues have been carved out, no?
Yeah, yeah. In terms of technology, we think it is possible, and we are looking forward to see it happen. But in terms of my background in the engineering side, I work a lot in the EPC projects as a EPC project engineer, PM side. I look at the risk in a very conservative way. If it's
Mhm.
just my personal view, technology is one side. We can see it's a possibility, but to control the risk in the very low risk, I would say the control side, I do think it has to be running in parallel. First is the technology, and the second will be the compliance and commercial adoption. So we get excited about how the future can go in terms of the AI and autonomous, and we can see a lot of the good things Tesla is going. They're pretty good, and we do have to learn a lot from Tesla. And they are, of course, the pioneer of all the good technology it can come up. So that's why we are happy to see how it goes.
So you still a little bit conservative in terms of risk issues that you have seen firsthand as an EPC person, right?
Maybe I am a little bit too conservative.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's better to be cautious. But I think some of these technologies will be tested out into US and then get launched into Australia. Tesla already launched, as you know, the self-drive on the Tesla models last month. Yeah, I was in Sydney. Yeah, 2 months ago. Yes. So
Yep.
people are driving Sydney to Melbourne without it's still under supervision, not
Yeah.
drivers. So the person liable is sitting there. So who is liable, right?
Exactly, exactly. Someone is liable. Okay.
Someone is liable.
Yes.
But having
So,
said
hmm,
that, if you take that technology into complex mining operations where there is a risk of things falling down, all sorts of other risks, right?
yep,
Depending shaft or mine, and if you can send a technology, it can reduce a lot of risk for human operators, right?
exactly, exactly. And we do be thankful of a lot of adoption is already carried out in China, and we all, and as a company, what I'm working in SANY, we do supply a lot of this kind of the technology in China, of course, as well. With the database is strong enough, the pilot case, no longer pilot case, there's a lot of different operation is already done in China, which build up the confidence level when we bring in the technology into some other market like Africa, like Australia, Mexico, Peru, etc. So I think technology is pretty good. And of course, when it back up by a large database, it will be bring up the confidence level to the decision maker, no matter the decision maker is big or small. And then to carry forward the advancement of the adoption of that technology.
Yeah, absolutely. What about drone delivery? I mean, Africa, they are doing quite advanced in drone delivery. The company Matternet been delivering medicines for quite some
Yep.
time, right? Across.
Yeah.
I mean, the countries that you mentioned, deep mining operation, thousands of kilometers to drive to send something. So are you looking into that as a project? You're waiting for a clients to come up and then you can bring it a solution because that would be also integral part of mining operation in terms of running a little mini drone systems because no planes are going there. So there is no other physical problem that Sydney or Melbourne will have, right? In terms of conflict
Yeah.
the existing airplanes.
Yeah, exactly. I think when we, or when myself, just as a personal, to look into, I think, or maybe including a lot of companies to look into, it will be first, are there special need? How big is the market share?
Mhm.
And how difficult is the adoption to that technology? And are there is a special need, right? If the technology is created, but it's just a once-off and the frequency is not a lot, then the business case won't survive, right? What we see is a future, and I think personally it is a real adoption because I do take part in this kind of a projects when I still in the university to fly drones to somewhere else. Because let's say someone is waiting for someone to help while hiking in somewhere, let's say 500 meter above the sea level, the drone is the only way to save him immediately, right? So we see it is a very good and practical technology. And I believe in many countries in China, in APEC region already have a lot of pilot cases to prove it is working. And I think in US, some cases is proof is working as well. And we are looking forward to see more adoption into the commercial side and see how it works in terms of commercial application, how big it can grow into the market size. And once it is working, and there's a lot of investment to inject into, and this will be another big industry. And again, looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah, potentially it's humongous size.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But for the investor, they will have to do a lot of math calculation. Yes, we know it's a huge, but what is the number, right? How
Yeah,
many
yeah.
billion?
And where do you start? Yeah.
Exactly. Where is the customer?
And
Yeah,
who starts it, right?
yeah, exactly. When I started, where is my pie? Where's my share?
Now, when were you last time in China? I assume that you frequently travel to SANY
Yes,
headquarters.
yes,
So
quite a lot.
tell us, I mean, I used to work in China many years ago, but I haven't been there for quite some time. If you walk into Shanghai and in a really high-tech setting on electric vehicle, what do you see in terms of robotics, in terms of AI?
Impressive, impressive. So you can Google search SANY Lighthouse Factory. So one of our lighthouse factory in Changsha is our headquarter of
Mhm.
SANY Heavy Industry, and we are based in the Hunan province. And we have a lot of factory in China. One of the factory that impressed me quite a lot, and they are building the EV trucks. The entire production line mainly full of the robotic arms, including the robotic automatic arcing and then the robotic assembly. And you can imagine the speed from start to complete production of a truck, it will be just around 8 to 10 minutes. So by the time we are
Seriously?
talking, exactly, by the time we are talking, there's already 10 or 20 trucks is already produced.
Wow. You're saying a single truck getting assembled in 8 to 10 minutes? Manufactured.
From a piece of metal sheet to a car that can drive out from the factory. So 5 minutes to 10 minutes, there will be one EV trucks or SANY truck ready to drive to test
No, but when you
from the
say
factory.
manufacturing, it's still assembly. The parts have been already pre-manufactured, right? They're not getting made as the truck moves on the assembly line, no?
So there is a complexity of the factory. So it can create from the metal sheet, and then there's a cutting machine cutting into the different pieces, and it will hand over from one manufacturer line to another manufacturer
Mhm.
line. And in our factory, it will just like a sushi train. So
Mhm.
one part of our autonomous go to another part, and the entire part, let's say shuffle the whole round, it will just need 10 minutes from A to Z, one truck in 10 minutes.
Wow. I was expecting you will say a couple of hours, 10
No,
minutes.
10 minutes,
And
10
they
minutes.
can operate in the dark, right? They don't need lights.
Technically, yes, but we still need to have someone to stand aside to operate and to monitor the whole plant is manufacturing. So yes, technically, once it has the power and we have the product to get the power supply from wind, battery, solar, whatever, to that, whatever, the factory to get the load to manufacture the cars or whatever, then it is a green and lighthouse factory. Done. That's it. We are closed loop in terms of the whole operation.
Fantastic. Now, in terms of battery, I mean, Australian government has this almost $5 billion subsidies on the batteries and everybody adding home batteries. So are you into that space already in Australian supplying batteries, manufacturing, assembly, or reach?
So we are not into home battery. We are into the commercial industrial side because this is where our bread and butter is coming from. So for example, some kind of a construction site, we are partner with a lot of dealership and our partner, let's say some of the project site, they used to use diesel generator a lot, but they are noisy if the operation is at night or some kind of the ESG arise, they can use our battery
Mm-hmm.
more quiet. And of course, they will still give power. And it's already adopted in quite a good number of the site already. So this is just an example. And of course, for the utility scale of the battery storage, we are also kicking into this market as well. Yes, in terms of battery, we see it's good. And the grid will need more battery, need more grid forming battery to make the grid work better in Australia. So yeah,
Yeah, and
battery is good.
everywhere. Yeah, and everywhere. Yes.
Exactly.
Now, are you manufacturing battery cells or you are a partner with one of the first tier manufacturers? Where you get your battery cells from?
So as a OEM for SANY, you can also see from different of our product. We prefer to manufacture all by ourselves. And for battery cells, we have the technology, we have the good expertise, we have the good enough understanding of how it works and work better. So we can manufacture the whole storage system, the battery, the BESS
Mm-hmm.
by ourselves. We manufacture our battery cell as well. So the battery cell can be used as in the BESS system and also our SANY truck as well. But what I mean is we can also use some other battery cell as well. But end of the day, it's just cell, right? Of course, there are some different standard of the cell. We can use Catel cell, we can use whatever manufacturer cell into our product as well. So we have the capability to manufacture every component. I won't say every component, most of the component inside the BESS system. It's not a difficulty for us.
But you are not manufacturing yet, right?
We
Some
have the
manufacturing.
manufacturing plant, yeah. So one of our subsidiaries is called SANY Silicon Energy, which is a manufacturing base to manufacture solar panel and battery. Let's revert back to the off-grid power project in Africa. We use our own solar panel, we use our own BESS system, and it's already in operation mode. So we manufacture plus beyond the adoption. Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, I mean, yeah, this is amazing. Is there anything else I could have asked you? Anything else you want to share?
I prefer to answer what you want to ask me.
In that case, I really have a question. I mean, you are a very young person working with all this high tech. So you must be a very advanced user of AI. So how much AI you use in everyday life?
Oh, it's a good question. So most of the time, where I will use some AI application like ChatGPT, some other different AI software as well. Of course, on my own daily operation in terms of the paperwork to optimize my efficiency, effectiveness of the paperwork, I find it's pretty useful. And to summarize the workflow, to summarize what I have to a long document, I think it is a powerful tool for the AI in terms of the application of the AI. And later, I think AI will be very hard to replace. It is a very powerful tool. Everyone is relying on that. And let's say in terms of a business case, I just use $30 subscription fee monthly. But the application wise is more than I hire 5 people to do the same stuff. So what we think is, well, impressive.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much for your time. I think we have done a bit of talking on very interesting areas. So let's keep in
You.
touch. Thank you again.
That's my pleasure as well, Sohail. So next time when you come back to Melbourne, just give me a call. We can
Yeah.
catch up.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Energypreneurs. If you enjoyed this, don't forget the full video is on YouTube. Just search Energypreneurs. Thank you. See you next time.